Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I have been talking about anxiety. I had Margaret Gumefun, on my channel. We're talking about anxiety and how it affects us, and we've had two videos already, which you can check in the list of my uploads, and you'll be able to watch. But I'm going back again, to talk about other things that I know that are really important to us. Today my topic is actually 8 things to hack self-growth. Why? Because some of us struggle with self-growth, right? And it's important that we have like a blueprint on how to hack self-growth. And self-growth is not only about increasing your finances, right? That's one part of it, but my focus will be on self, right? On ourselves, especially when you've been through divorce and separation, you're widowed, or you're a single mother, right? There's a lot of struggles, a lot of things that you actually have to handle. And sometimes it's a bit too much, right? But if you do know the things that you're supposed to focus on, then it will help you on your journey. And that is what I want to share. That's one of the things that I do on this channel, to help to help us grow, to help us find, instead of us running up and down, we just have certain areas that we should focus on. Okay. So self-growth is really important, and that's something that I think we should all know. Self-growth is important. You can't be in the same place that you were yesterday, right? And in my book, I actually talk about improving yourself, right? So if you're a version 1 right now, you want to be a version 2, and then of course a version 3. So self-growth allows you to upgrade, gives you that empowerment to upgrade your version, right? So if you're, like I said in my book, I said I'm now IV 2.0 because I was an IV 1.0 before, okay, 1.3 before. Okay, so let's get into it. What are the 8 things, right, to hack self-growth? All right. The first one is self-awareness, okay? So now, John Maxwell says that you cannot grow yourself. You cannot grow yourself if you do not know yourself, right? I don't know why I'm playing with my hair so much. Okay, so you have to know yourself to grow yourself, really. That's what he says, right? So you need to gain clarity on who you are. So what's your identity? Do you even know who you are as an individual? Do you know your SWOT? So your SWOT is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Now, organizations usually use this, right, when they're going into trying to create a new strategy, or even know exactly, gain a direction, or even change the direction of where they want to go. And in my thinking, I thought, if an organization can do this, why can't individuals do that too? So what is your SWOT? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? Because if you know, and this has to hinge, your SWOT needs to be hinged to who you want to be or what you want to do, right? So with that, you can now assess yourself based on these 4 areas, okay? So it's important to know your SWOT. Now, I'm not going to go into this in details because I'm going to be starting a community, right, where I'm going to be sharing in depth some of the things that I share here, all right? And so when that is ready, I'm going to be inviting you guys to join the community, and believe me, there's going to be a lot of value there for you in that community. So know your SWOT. The next one will be know your values. So if you know your identity as a person, right, the next thing you want to know is, what are my values? Organizations always build their visions, they have their missions, and then they don't have their values. So what are your values as a person? Because as you grow up during the years, You have learned so many things, you've gained so many things from different areas. What are your values? What are those beliefs? What are those things that you hold on to as a person? What are those things that you cannot compromise as a person? What are your values? Okay? Then the next one is know your personality type. Okay, so as a John Maxwell team member, and I train and coach, as a John Maxwell team member, and I'm also a certified DISC personality trainer, right? And one of the things, the model that we use to understand your personality is the DISC personality, right? Which is the D is the which talks about you being a dominant person. The I is like an influential person. The S is that you are steady, and then the C is that you are someone who is very compliant, right? So we also go in depth into this, and if you want to know more, if you want to know who you are, in terms of your personality, you can hit me up and I would show you how to achieve that, right? But it's important to know your personality type as a person, because if you are in a situation where you have no clue about your personality and you're trying to work with people, there'll be personality clashes. So you need to know your personality to be able to identify personalities when you see them, and then you know exactly how to manage your personality. Great. So then you also need to know how you feel when things happen. How do you feel? So our emotions are all over the place most of the time, right? Especially when you've been through challenges in our relationships and all. But how do you feel? Do you really know how you feel? It's important to know how you feel, because knowing how you feel gives you the power, right, and the knowledge to be able to manage those feelings efficiently. And we're going to go into that as I share. And then, of course, you need to also know your triggers. So what are those things that when people do them, they affect you? And what are the trends? Are you even monitoring? Are you observing? Because if you don't know the triggers, so what would happen if you don't know your triggers is that you would fall for anything, you would react to anything, because you do not know those things that actually trigger you to act, right? But if you know your triggers, you are aware of them, then what happens is that when your mind senses those things are happening, your mind is already prepared, and I can help you to actually handle those situations better. So know your triggers. Okay, so the next one is self-acceptance, right? A lot of people don't really accept themselves, and it's so sad. And really, you need to accept yourself just the way you are. I know it's weird to say I want to grow, right? And then why would I be accepting myself? It's important that you accept yourself, because no one is like you. You are uniquely made, right? And you also cannot be like anyone else in this world. Okay? So it's important that you accept yourself. It's from that acceptance of self that you will be able to grow from where you are. So when you know that these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses, you accept yourself. But then from there you can tell yourself, okay, this is how I am, but I want to be better, right? I want to, so with accepting yourself, you're not going to beat yourself down, right? You accept yourself, and you know that I have areas to work on, but it allows you to love you just the way you are. So please, acceptance of self is really important to have self-growth. Now, it also helps you to find ways to mentally adapt to what you do not like about you. Exactly. Because, even regardless of how you are or what you are, right, there are certain areas about you that you may not like. Like, for example, this is just very, superficial. I never used to like my forehead. I used to think that my forehead was really too large, right? And because of that, when I had certain hairstyles, or and I took pictures, that's the first thing my eyes would go to look at my forehead and see how it is. So it's not good for you at all. It's important that you You accept yourself just the way you are. There's some things that you can't change. I wasn't going to be able to break my forehead into the shape I wanted, right? And so I had to accept it, yes. Also, look, you have, with acceptance of self, it helps you to look for the positive and safe ways to change the things that you can, which is important. So, I mean, if we look at it right, I could not beat my head, into the shape I wanted. This is my head, right? So, but I had to be positive about it, okay? And I also had to accept that this was, and I just love it. Learn to look at it in a different way. Till now I do not know why my forehead was so big for me then, but even now as I look at it, I don't have those challenges anymore, okay? So what did I do? I focused on the things that I liked most about me, and before I knew what's happening, things I didn't like about me began to fade away. So self-acceptance is also a very important hack to self-growth. Okay, so self-love. Now, whenever you guys have the time, and I think it should be soon, I need you to do what is called self-love exercise, which means that you should say I love you, IV, don't be shy. Just say to yourself, say to your reflection in the mirror every single day. They are really the most powerful words you could ever say to yourself. They're also the most powerful words that anybody could say to you that will make you feel really good, right? Feel good and warm inside. So tell yourself I love you every single day. And make it a lifestyle, right? Because by saying them to your reflection every day, you begin to manifest and feel that love like you're actually supposed to feel it, okay? And then with self-love, I think it's important to note that you have to make time for yourself, because time is love. You make time for family, you make time for friends, you make time for your work. What about you? Make time for yourself, right? Make time to rest and spend time with you, okay? To do things that you'd love to do on your own. And then while you are at it, have some fun. Because there's no point in doing things and being so serious about it. Have some fun. The bottom line is, please, just take care of yourself, right? And be young at heart, okay? Regardless of how old you're growing, be young at heart. The heart doesn't grow old. Yes. Okay. So the next one is self-esteem. And the question I'd like to ask is, how much has your self-love grown? Because self-esteem comes from you loving yourself. A lot of people have very low self-esteem, and some people have very high self-esteem, right? And if it's too high, there's a problem with it as well. But what is how much do you love yourself, right? And how do you feel about yourself in terms of how you look at yourself, right? So one thing that I think is important to know is that self-esteem doesn't happen, by magic. Especially if you've been through the rough, okay? It requires you breaking down beliefs, certain types of thinking, some strongholds in your mind, some attitudes towards yourself, okay? So watch what you let into your mind. Watch what you let into your mind, okay? It's important that you allow positive thoughts to come in every single day. So what are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Okay, it's important. And then, of course, make sure that they're positive. And then nurture those thoughts. Remind yourself of those things every single day. They help to boost your self-esteem. Spend time with people who value you, and who show you that they value you, who speak the right stuff to you and all. It's very important. And then very key is try not to hold onto thoughts that limit your self-esteem, because we're not perfect. And so, with the world now, you look around you and everyone seems to be really, really perfect. It doesn't matter, okay? You are you, right? And you're just good the way you are. You might need some improvements or some tweaks here and there. That's fine. But even as you are, you have value that you can bring to the world. So please see yourself as, you know, someone who has value. Okay. Now, self-talk, and this also adds to self-esteem, right? It helps to boost your self-esteem. Do you talk to yourself daily? What kind of things do you say to yourself? If you don't talk to yourself daily, I think this is something that you need to start. However, you need to watch what you say to yourself. Okay, and so you know, life throws us like really amazing curveballs. But you can, and you know, those curveballs kind of like discourage you to move on with life. So you've heard, you know, some people, because they get to a point and they can't move on, they feel like it's time to end it. And the truth of the matter is that that's not the answer. That's not the way forward. It's not final, right? With those curveballs, one of the things that I realized, you know, in my own journey is that with self-talk, I needed to motivate myself, right? So self-talk allowed me to motivate myself, but I needed to use the right kind of talk to motivate me to keep on running my race. So first of all, you need to talk to yourself nicely. Then you need to, you know, talk your affirmations daily to yourself. I am beautiful, I am bold, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I am creative, you know, I am a gift to the world. You need to say those, you know, affirmations. And then of course you need to talk yourself into taking the leap of faith, because there are times, you know, with your self-growth, right, you do want to achieve certain things in your life, right? And so, but you're afraid. So self-talk allows you to actually, you know, take that leap. Okay, please pardon this hair is it's distracting me right now. Okay, I just love it. Okay, so talk yourself into taking that leap of faith to do those things that you dream of doing. You know, just you know, walk into your dream, leap into your dream. Okay, all right, and encourage yourself. It is so important. Self-talk allows you to encourage yourself to do those things that you're afraid to do. Okay, and even, you know, when things are going rough, when you feel that things are falling apart, self-talk allows you to actually move on. Okay, with them. Okay, now self-development is the next one. This is when you take time out to nourish and nurture those areas that you have identified for development in your SWOT. Very, very key. So the SWOT is not just for you to do the SWOT. The SWOT is for you to take action. So there's I can't remember who said it. He said, you know, focus on your strengths, but manage your weaknesses. Okay, so that's why you need to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then you develop yourself. So for like your weaknesses, they may not completely be turned to strengths, you know, but you can manage them by developing yourself in those areas. So what are your weaknesses? Do you know what your weaknesses are? Especially if you have a goal that you want to achieve, you know what your weaknesses are, right? And what do you need to do? So what are those areas that you need to grow? Very important. Okay, so how do you? What do you need to do? Do you need to take a training? Do you need to have coaching? Do you need to have a mentor? You know, do you need to read some books? What are those areas, right? Do you need to do some research? You know, and then what knowledge do you need to acquire? You know, so it's important that you actually take time out to develop yourself. Believe me, anything that you learn is never lost. You will need them one day. Okay, so we're now on self-management, and I also like to call this self-leading. Okay, self-management, self-leading, because if you cannot lead yourself, how do you expect to lead others? It's not that, you know, or maybe should I say lead others efficiently, you know. And it begins with you taking the right actions based on the decisions you have made and sticking with, with it. And sticking with it. With discipline, consistency, and with enjoyment of the process. So a lot of times people just want to get to the end, but they don't want to enjoy the process. And it's important that you enjoy the process. So self-management requires you to choose the right reaction as well when your emotions go kitty kitty, kata kata. Oh my goodness, that's self-regulation. Believe me, self-management and self-leading, they help you. So when those emotions are just going all over the place, then you need to self-manage. But because you're aware, because you know the triggers, right, you're able to manage yourself efficiently. And then self-management also makes you take on new responsibilities, right, with boldness, even when it is new to you. So yes, those things happen, they're new, but it's self-leadership and self-management, right? You're able to step into those roles, even when you're afraid. So you're doing it afraid. I'm expressing that right now, and I've been given a new, something new to manage at work, and it's daunting, it's scary. I want to be really successful at it, and I know that I can be, but I'm afraid because it's new. It's taking me out of my comfort zone. So my emotions are just kitty kitty kata kata all over the place, but I've had to self-lead, and manage my emotions, manage my fears and all, and when I do so, okay, when I take control of just my emotions and my thoughts, what happens is that I'm able to see clearly, what I need to do. I'm able to think clearly, I'm able to have like direction on what to do, right? So self-management is very important. I know for me it's leading to growth, right? And so that's why I put it as a hack, for self-growth. And self-management also influences you to lead others with your actions, okay? So you see, sometimes a lot of times, when you make the decision to act right or to react in a mature way when it comes to certain situations, what happens is that it sticks into people's minds, sticks on people's minds, right? And you find that you can influence them. Because people buy into you before they buy into your vision. And so once you are doing, you're reacting maturely, they key into that, right? So that's why it's important, to self-manage. And it also helps you hold yourself accountable as well. Because you have certain things that you want to achieve, right? And you have your goals, and self-management helps you to be accountable. Self-worth is the final one. Self-worth is the final one. Now, if you were asked if you were asked this question, do you know your worth? Do you know your worth? What would your response be? Will it be yes? Will it be no? Or will it be, I think I have a clue? So a lot of us struggle with this. I do as well. I can't even lie to you, because I actually struggle with my self-worth even as now, and so as I share this, I also speak to myself, right? I pray that I actually do achieve real knowledge of my self-worth. So as we grow, we need to know what our worth is. We need to know it, we need to own it, right? And so your worth is the value that you bring to the table first, before the value you take away. So what do you bring to the table? You know, a lot of times we do amazing things, but we see those things as if they're nothing. What do you bring to the table? That's your worth. That's the value that you bring, right? And that's your worth. So for those that are in careers, right, you know, you may not be earning what you know is your worth, but guess what? As you keep giving, as you keep believing, as you keep growing and strategically positioning yourself, you will eventually earn it. So that means that you should be working towards, you know, visibility, gaining visibility for yourself in your workplace. And these are things that I will be talking deeper into, you know, in the community. Self-worth is also a pouring out of the value that is in you into others. It's giving back. So you know that saying that says you cannot give what you don't have. So you've built your values rising. You have so much to give. You also need to pour out. That's what brings impact, right? And so you have to know your value. You have to own it. You have to raise it, and you have to share it. And then with self-worth, it's so important that you celebrate your wins. Okay, so no matter how small it is, you should be able to say, yay, well done, Ivy, you know, well done. So this was a bit of a long share, but I knew I'd like to share this with you, and I'm hoping that you take some good stuff from this and apply it to your life. But really, if you want to hack self-growth, these are the 8 things that you need to. There are more. If you know more, please share in the comment box. But these are my 8, you know, and I thought I should share it, and I hope that we all achieve growth in our personal lives. So that's the end of my share. Hoping to share some more with you next week. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic week ahead. Thanks.